Hello, and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club. It's been a while since we've done these live streams, but since our team is not playing today and we don't care about other teams, I decided that we have this live stream and we just talk about the coaching situation there by Kaizer Chiefs. So it would be interesting to hear your views because there's been a lot of talks about who's actually going to take over at Kaizer Chiefs. Is it, for one, going to be Kevin Johnson? Is it going to be Mosimane? Is it going to be Ramovic? Is it going to be Raul from Spain? Or is it going to be Kaizer Chiefs actually surprising us with a coach that we didn't even know? So it would be interesting for you to also just leave your comments letting me know which of these things you think Kaizer Chiefs will actually end up doing. And also, if you're new to this channel, just make sure to like the video as we go along and subscribe to the channel. This is where fans meet. We talk about Kaizer Chiefs, we talk about everything. So every subscription does really help me to go to reach more people like you. Also, like the video. We would like for people to join the conversation as well. I'll be reading comments from you guys, and as we are talking, and then we will also just discuss other things as well. So if right now you take your computer, you type Kaizer Chiefs on the internet, and you go to news and you find the news, you see that everything that is there, it's just about the coaches that Kaizer Chiefs are linked with. And we're going to start with this article from Itiski Times where they are mentioning these 4 coaches. And you guys are going to let me know in my comments, Uguti, which one of the 4 coaches you actually think is more suitable. And also just to say why you think that coach is more suitable. Yabona Spusiso Shabalala is already saying, can they just bring Pitso finish? Actually, let's start with Pitso because he's also there in this article that I'm talking about. So here's the thing with Kaizer Chiefs. What we've kind of established and talked about is the fact that when you look at Pitso Mosimane, what kind of a coach is he? He's the type of coach who wants to do what he wants to do and he wants to be left alone. And that's the kind of coach that any successful team actually needs. A coach who has a clear vision, who knows exactly what they want to do and is going to do it. That's exactly what we want to see from a coach. The problem, though, is the fact that Kaizer Chiefs wants, or seemingly wants, a coach that they can control, who they can tell what to do and what not to do, and how to do things, who to sign. Wait, not even tell them who they should sign, but actually sign players for them. And we've seen this thing because one example that I will that is still fresh in your minds is the signing of Pietermaritzburg. We know that Zwane said he didn't want to sign Pietermaritzburg, but after Kaizer Chiefs lost the game 4-0 against Sundowns last season, then Mosimane called the management and he told the management told Ntsegi to sign Caleb, and then the Mosimane of this world then did call the manager of Caleb and told him that, hey, now we want you to bring us Caleb. Then they signed Caleb and it wasn't a good signing. But who made the decision? Ultimately, it was the management. Do you actually think that Pitso will allow that kind of nonsense to happen if he was the coach? I don't think so. I don't think so, because if you look at Pitso himself, he wants his own players. He wants to have a certain type of players. And it's understandable, because at the end of the day, if you don't get the type of players that you want, then you underperform, and then it blows back in your face again that you are the one who was supposed to coach the team and do well with the team, and you didn't do that. Now we sack you. So it's only fair that if you give a coach an opportunity to coach, then let that coach do what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, with who he wants to do it, which obviously brings us to the other comments. Usebili is saying, we need someone who believes in the project, that is Pitso. No, definitely, Pitso believes in the project, and he did say that if a project is solid, he can do it. and he can. Like, there's no doubt that I have with regards to Pitso. I think the only thing that I will keep on referring back to when I talk about Pitso is the fact that with him and the management, it would be a clash because it would become a power struggle. Pitso wants to do this, the management wants to do that, and then that's where they would clash. And that is why I think, even though Chiefs has gotten not once, I think Pitso has been available twice to Kaizer Chiefs, and both those times we ended up not signing him. Why is that? Why would you let go of a quality coach who's available in the market? So they let go of him and they didn't sign him. And by the way, now that we're here, I'm just reminded of the other issue about Pitso. By issue, I don't mean in a bad way, but also Zamalek are also really trying to sign up Pitso Mosimane, and looking at where they are struggling as well in their own league. If we look at I should have shared the screen, but it's too late now. If you look at Zamalek, last night they lost the game 2-1, and that's not great. If you look at the table where Zamalek is right now, they are also not doing great in their own league. They are sixth on their log, and Zamalek is not supposed to be dominated by anyone except maybe just Al Ahly is struggling on their own, but they have game in hands. They have 4 games in hand, and as Zamalek has played 6 games, and yet they are 6th in that log. So even Zamalek, they will obviously be trying by all means necessary to get Pitso, and Pitso is already in that side of the world, North Africa, but right now is in the UAE. But it's an easier transition to just move back to Egypt. Remember, also in Egypt, he kind of has a point to prove because he went to Al Ahly, he coached Al Ahly, and then they didn't treat him well, ended up leaving. So going back to Zamalek for him, for a coach like Pitso, it also means he's going there to prove the haters wrong. So there is more incentives for him to go to Zamalek, and it's a bigger project than what Kaizer Chiefs currently is. As much as I hate to say that, but it's just the truth. By the way, please do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also you can become a member. It's only 20 rands per month. Just click on the link or on the join button there that you see. And then Upet says we want Nabi to be the Nabi nation. Upet, I hear you, and I think it's justifiable what you're saying. It makes sense because we've been talking about how Kaizer Chiefs should be signing coaches who have actually won something in their lifetime. And what we do know about Nabi right now is the fact that in the previous 2 seasons with Simba, what he did do is that he did win back-to-back cups, like back-to-back trebles, not just cups, but back-to-back trebles. And if you think about that, you're like, yo, Yanga, not Simba. If you think about those back-to-back trebles that he did win, you're like, yeah, this is a coach that can come to Chiefs and do something. The problem that you have with Unabi is that with Kaizer Chiefs being a team that always tries to control the narrative and tries to look good, basically, in simple terms. Chiefs always tries by all means necessary to look good and to be the club that is seen Uguti, they know what they're doing. But actually, recent years, 8 years without winning anything, mismanagement at best, is clear Uguti, they don't know what they're doing sometimes. But the problem is they sometimes see that if they double down, well, not double down, if they show that they are clueless about what they are doing, they are actually proving that they are wrong and they are clueless about what they are doing. As such, they just double down and continue doing something that is wrong. For example, last year they tried an experiment with Atazwane to try and see if he can be the Kaizer Chiefs coach successfully. That didn't work. So instead of saying, okay, we've tried a coach who doesn't have any experience managing a senior team and winning things with the senior team, instead of saying, you know what, we failed to get Nabi, let's find someone else or get an interim coach like Kevin Johnson to be an interim beginning of the season, which would have been bad on its own. But to say we have a coach who's holding while we're looking for a proper coach. No, they appoint him Lifintsegi as a full-time coach. You're like, what? What are you doing? So instead of realizing that they made a mistake and fixing it and getting a proper coach, they still took shortcuts, and that wasn't good enough. So what I'm trying to say is that Kaizer Chiefs, they don't show that they want to learn. And even now, to think that they can go back to Nabi, then fans will go, but we told you, like we knew this was supposed to happen long time ago. Why did you not do this earlier on? It's gonna be a problem. So now they are like, ish, okay, we're not going back to Nabi. It's clear to me that there are more chances of them finding another coach than going to Nabi, because if they go to Nabi, then they are basically just admitting that they did something wrong, and Chiefs does not do that usually. Undumiso is saying, Khosi Nation, Kaizer Chiefs is the business at the end of the day, which belongs to them Taungs. Motaung senior kumele alungise umsamo wakhe, until then sisazokhala. You know what? If you are talking about umsamo in a sense of ukuthi maybe angazi akanjani, I don't like bringing izinto as spiritual when it's clearly not spiritual. Like, I can make examples about teams that are not properly managed. And usually I go to Europe and say, look at Manchester United, they are mismanaged. Look at Chelsea. But let's just come back to South Africa and forget about what's happening in Europe. Let's come back here in South Africa. Sundowns are loaded, so they get the players that the coach wants, fine. So we're also not going to include them in this thing that we're talking about. But let's take two teams that are surviving and have survived and actually are thriving in the DStv Premiership. Take, for example, Golden Arrows. Golden Arrows does not sign marquee signings. Golden Arrows does not pay 30 million, 20 million, 15 million, 5 million to sign players. No. They depend on their own development. And they keep on producing these good players. They keep on producing these good players, and then they sell them on. That's good management. That has nothing to do with how much money Golden Arrows has. That has to do with how the team itself is being managed. They just whooped us a week ago because now Umaputi Kanyeza is coaching that and is coaching the style of play that Golden Arrows wants to play. Abafana Bestende, kind of sort of fancy football. And they're doing that effectively. And it's coming from it development. The same thing that they're doing in their development, they are doing it in their senior team. You go to another team, Stellenbosch. Stellenbosch has become sort of a development at Kaizer Chiefs. And you look at that, you're like, it's working for them as a business model. Now, they are not spending millions and millions of things or money on players. But what they do have is a clear structure of how they want to play. They want to play by sitting deep and getting players who are very fast going forward, and then they hit teams on counters. That is why I'm saying to those people who are insisting that Chiefs needs to sign Reyners, Chiefs needs to sign Reyners. If Reyners was to come to Kaizer Chiefs, he will have the same struggles that Ashley Dupree has, because he's the same player as Dupree. And now people are saying Reyners because they are seeing him score goals. But the difference is that when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs, we're playing different football to Stellenbosch, and all of a sudden a player looks like Winkomo and is not getting in the same areas as he was getting at Stellenbosch. So what Chiefs needs to do, they need to understand what type of football they want to play, and from there get the coach who's going to play the football that they want to play. But right now, Kaizer Chiefs is not sure how they want to play, and because of that, they are getting any coach that comes along, and because of that, they are messing things up big time. So that is why I think that in the Bayom Taung, I don't think it's Samo, I don't think God cast them or something. No, they are just not clear with their vision, with what they want to do with the team. And because of that, the team is clearly struggling. Usbusizo Chabalala saying, Zamalek is not as big as Amakos. Guys, Zamalek is very big. Eh? Zamalek is very big. Like, Zamalek is big. Like, it is really big. Uguti phela vele thina lana we are in South Africa, and what we know about the most is the fact that Chiefs is just big. Chiefs is just big. But there are other teams that that are there as well. So Zamalek footy, besides looking at the size of the team or fan base, size of the team also should be determined by how dominant the team is, and they've been dominating or fighting with Al Ahly, their biggest rivals there in Egypt. So they are big. I'm not saying Chiefs is a dwarf, but Zamalek is also big. Also Xolo saying Pitso wants full control of the team and a big check to sign players, but Chiefs won't give him that. So I don't think he will go to Chiefs. I completely agree with that. I really, really, really do agree with that. Pitso uzoyifunela abadlali bakhe ngemali and ngeke simnikeze lokho. Please do like the video, by the way. Also, please do subscribe to the channel. Let's go to the next comment from Jeffrey Pietermaritzburg, who's saying okusalayo kuzolunga sobuya ngamandla one day. Hey. all of that depends on how the management does, who they eventually choose to become the coach, because as it stands, it's shaking. Internet Pablo, is saying honest review on Johnson, please. Okay. You know what? If Kaizer Chiefs were like, if Kevin Johnson was just still sitting in his house, like chilling, and then Chiefs fires Mlifinsegi, and then like 3-4 weeks later they announce Kaizer Chiefs have announced Kevin Johnson, or have appointed Kevin Johnson as the head coach. Then at that moment, I'm like, okay, so it's been 4 weeks. They've gone through, and what have they looked at and seen with Kevin Johnson? Okay, they've seen that he's been good with younger players. And if you look at Kaizer Chiefs, you have players like Mtutuzi Shabalala, Samgelo Zwane, Kosingiphile Ngcobo semdala kodwa manje sebamdala, Kosingiphile Ngcobo, Happy Martian in the bench. There are these players who are coming from development, and there are more will be coming from development. And you're understanding that the way that Kaizer Chiefs wants to function going forward is to try and, well, even now what they're doing is they are getting players who are free agents and trying to promote other players from development. So with regards to the business idea or business plan of Kaizer Chiefs, they are not trying to spend a lot of money on players, so they are going to push them from development. So Kevin Johnson fits that because he's been proven to kind of grow the players who are coming up from development or younger players. Sharp. And then what kind of football does he play? With Platinum Stars, the last team that I genuinely watched, that he coached, it did look attractive. With regards to winning and being a serial winner, we've not seen that. And when you come to Kaizer Chiefs, you can't just be a winner, but you must be a serial winner, someone who's been winning, like who's been doing crazy things. Because take a coach like Steve Kompela. He comes to Kaizer Chiefs. I think he had won something with Free State Stars and Amazulu in Maritzburg United, or was up there in winning with them. But the problem is the fact that when you move to Kaizer Chiefs, having won with a smaller club, there's less pressure in the smaller club to win. So if you win something, it's like, oh, big deal. But if you come to Chiefs and you win Carling Knockout Cup, everyone is like, okay, yeah, Chiefs won the cup. We want another one. But if Maritzburg United win something, we celebrate that for years. Like we remember in 2008, we won something because they're a smaller team. So the pressure is different. So with Kevin Johnson, I get the part of being able to work with younger players. But on the other hand, it's like, is he a serial winner enough? Because even if a coach can coach good brand of play of attacking football into the players, that does not necessarily mean all of a sudden they are now able to coach a big team. It's different things. Utogozani, so before I'm Utogozani, I think where Pablo, the biggest thing is that I am 50-50 with Kevin Johnson. I am definitely 50-50 because the winning part is the one that worries me, or should I say the winning with Kaizer Chiefs, because you can win with anyone, but if you're not winning with a big team, then look at Graham Potter, moves from Brighton, playing really well, but he gets to Chelsea, all of a sudden he looks like he's a plumber. So Yabon Guti, there are levels to these things. You can do it with another team, but then fail with the other. So it's tricky. And then Togozan is saying we're not going to improve then if they don't want to sign quality players. They won't. I understand. Because at the end of the day, you look at the Springboks, right? I know it's different sports, but still, you look at the Springboks and you look at the games that they won. The games that they won, they were just being overwhelmed by the France. They were overwhelmed by England. Second half, they were overwhelmed by New Zealand. But the quality of the players that we have in the team, the spirit of fighting in the team, it also adds to why we won. But if I'm talking about the quality, look at Elizabeth, the thing that made that boy trend, Mbizango Elizabeth. Like, he gets the ball and it just charges at all of them. He ends up scoring a try. And that comes down to the players themselves, that at some point they need to just take the team on themselves. But we Chiefs were requiring way too many times on one player to do what Elizabeth did in that game in France. And then in some cases, you look at the coaching, the Springboks. Again, let's make the example of the Springboks. You see that as much as in other aspects they were lacking, like in catching the balls when they were being hit and then they were catching the ball. But in other aspects, in how they defended, like the Springboks best defender, you 10 minutes wonke, silita by 1 point. And the 1 point we wrap is not a big deal. You can just score a penalty, you can just score a drop goal. It's not a big deal, 1 point. But since they are so well coached, so now it's the good coaching, it's the quality players, and then it's also the team spirit, because those players were able to fight and fight for the country themselves. So you see that it's a combination of all these things, and yet at Kaizer Chiefs, we sign one good player like Opiliat or Dolly, and then we depend on them. And all the weight is just down to that player, and that's not good enough. So it sucks. So please do make sure to like the video. Please do make sure to like the video. And then Upet Mac is saying, Kona Jumto hit my heart. Upet Mac is saying, with Peterson in goals, no coach can win games. Hey, oh, supposed to so sharp. Yeah. Yeah, Pet. You know what? I think Peterson is saying defender cool. It's time, Vele, that he gets a bench. But from what Kevin Johnson said, Peterson will not be sitting on the bench anytime soon. Because he says that we are figuring coachy and the abadlali kumele banikezwe a chance. Basically the same thing of, I'm not going to now start changing things too drastically. So Peterson is still gonna play. As much as Guamina at this point, I'm like, he's made way too many mistakes, and another mistake that he makes, it's just going to push him further down the train and just put him in a bad relationship with Kaizer Chiefs fans. Fun enough, none of the coaches from Tsegi didn't see that either. But it is what it is. Peterson is still gonna play, sadly. And then Usbusiso Shabalala is saying these players follow instructions too much. They look like plumbers themselves. You know what? There are times where I look at it and think, you know what? These players now, they must know this, how to move, how to make the right movement. But sometimes nabo kubona nje ukuthi ayi ngathi lento ayenzayo kwayena akayazi lo mdlalo. But then again, you like, this player was good in Jet Arrows. Like, we are nje one recent player that we've kind of damaged and made look average is Pulemod. Pulemod is a very good player, yet we've made him look average. So it's weird. And the other coach, obviously, that people have not talked about is Machine Etukral. And there are a lot of things that can be said about Etukral. Think about it. Umshini came to Chiefs, he left, then came back, and now he's being linked with Chiefs because they are young players, and at least with him, Umshini didn't win us leagues, but he was able to win cups. Fana no Mintendorp. But the question is, how are you going to go back to the same coach for the third time? It doesn't make any sense. Once again, like, why are you going to the same coach for the third time? Right? It's like a plan. So that is what kind of puts him in a tricky situation that I don't think he will be signed. And we've already talked about Nabi and the situation of Raul Caneda. If we're being honest, because before we talk about Raul Caneda, I think one coach that I'm surprised that is not being linked stronger and stronger with Kaizer Chiefs is Sid Ramovic, the one who's coaching TS Galaxy. There's been nothing. Like, there were some links linking him to Chiefs, but then it just disappeared. And then the other guy that we call Ed Sheeran, the one who coached Casablanca, Ed Sheeran, he's the one also who's not been linked that much. There's been nothing said about him. So we are waiting. The people labang solid right now is Pitso for one, Ertukral is being mentioned, and Raul Caneda, the guy who was Manchester City's external analyst in 2017. Those are the main coaches that are being linked with the Chiefs. But then there is that thing, Kevin Johnson, that he might just be staying with the team. So, Kuningi, and we're going to wait and see what Kaizer Chiefs do. Anyways, guys, if you're watching after the live, do let me know what you think about all of this. We're coming to the end of the live stream. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.